Like I promised in the previous video, now it's time to reveal and to talk about the second champion that Plarium has allowed to talk about until tomorrow, that we are able to share more information about the test server, the rest of the champions, everything new that's coming on the new update, and today we're gonna cover a bit more in depth what's the next fusion gonna be. So another champion is in this case the Mad Hatter, also part of the 5 themed champions, part of the Alice's Adventure 3 months campaign for January 2025, so let's have a look at him. Hello, Senda here, and like I promised in the previous video, and like I mentioned in the previous video, let me know in the comments which one of the two guides would you like to see first. If you'd like to see first the guide of the champion we're gonna cover in this video, which is the January's fusion, or if by or contrary, you want to see Alice, you want to see what she's capable of. Like I said, mention it in the comments, and I'll try to film one first and the other, and publish one first and the other. That said, let's go and have a look at him. Like I said, he's going to be the Mad Hatter, and they hinted a bit what this champion was going to be able of, and he's not only able of that, but he's also able of more things. And straight ahead, I'm gonna say that I think it's a pretty good fusion considering some of the fusions we had last year. I think it's a fusion I'm gonna go for because I think it's pretty good and it can fit in certainly a lot of Hydra team. It can combine with a lot of champions, it's similar to other champions, we'll cover that a bit more in depth in the future, but let's see what's Plarium talking or what's Plarium saying about him. It says, hey folks, this Wednesday, January the 8th, so tomorrow we'll start the fusion. We're gonna launch a mixed fusion event of a new champion, Mad Hatter. When they say mixed fusion event, it means that it's going to be a bit of both. You need to get shards, like the champion fragments. You need to use these fragments to fuse one of the epics. The epics, you can see them in the patch notes that they published the other day. It's an epic that is actually pretty good. And when you have all 4 epics, you can convert them, you can fuse them into the Mad Hatter. The Mad Hatter, I'm going to be showing it here for you to see how he looks like while I'm talking a bit about the kit. And basically, Plarium is saying that it's going to be a champion, legendary type support, affinity force, and it's going to be from the Knights Revenant, which is a faction that has pretty good champions already, and this is just one extra that, like I said, is pretty good, and it's going to be capable of a lot of things. It can help a lot of the accounts in early, in mid game. It can 100% push a lot of not damage, but a lot of utility in your Hydra teams. And it can combine very well with other champions. Plarium here is saying that Mad Hatter is a versatile PvE support champion, specializing in spreading debuffs and empowering allies with healing, buff extension, turn meter boost, and he does all the things that we're gonna see now. His toolkit is designed to keep allies alive in the fight while disrupting the enemy's strategy. And then they talk a bit what all the skills do, but we're gonna see basically what they shared. There is a bit of a shame that they shared only this kind of file. The one they shared for Alice was nicer, I kind of prefer these ones. But let's have a look at the skills, which we have them here, and we're gonna go over his kit to see how good he actually is and if it's worth going for him. Like I said in the beginning, spoiler alert, I'm gonna go for him. I think he's worth, and I think he's gonna be a good champion. If it happens that you cannot manage to finish the fusion, that you don't have time, that you don't get the champions, don't worry, this champion is not gonna disappear from the game. It's not like the Monster Hunter ones, that it was kind of a one-time deal. Once they're gone, they're gone. In this case, after this, because they're characters from the Lewis Carroll novels, they don't have copyright, they don't expire, so they're gonna remain in the game forever. Maybe you cannot get the fusion now, but maybe you'll pull him in a shard in a couple of months, who knows. So if you can go for him, I would advise to go. If you cannot, because whatever reason, don't worry, he's gonna stay in the game. Let's see what he does. We start with the A1, attacks an enemy 2 times, each hit has a 25% chance of stealing 1 random buff. This is not bad, not super high chance. We can improve it with another 25%, so it makes it to 50% times 2 hits, so it can it can steal up to 2 enemy buffs. Each hit has also a 75% chance of debuff spread, which is pretty good, on enemies that have Hex. So basically, if they have Hex and you hit an enemy, you can spread debuffs from that enemy you're hitting into the rest of the enemies that have hex. This is not bad, and it works better the more enemies there are, and also it works better the more debuffs you can apply. It's also great for champions. For example, let's say you have trouble in regular spider and then you have only one champion that applies single target HP burn. What you could do is apply hex to all the rest of the spiders, attack this one with the fire, with the HP burn, and spread the HP burn to all the spiders. So it's a pretty good strategy, and it also works, like I said, pretty good probably in Hydra, not only spreading but also stealing buffs, because there's a couple of heads that are quite annoying, that they put increased attack, reflect damage, so we can steal all this stuff. Then we go on to the A2, attacks all enemies, 75% chance to apply the hex, so it's really good. Like I said, for Hydra, it's one of the debuffs that we're looking for, and a 25% weaken on all enemies for 2 turns. Again, another of the important debuffs that we can apply, or that we're looking to apply to all Hydra heads. The ally with the highest critical damage, so our nuker, will team up and join the attack, and the ally joining the attack will use their default skill like any other charge, like any other ally attack skills. And the damage dealt, this is really good, the damage dealt by the ally joining the attack will increase 10% per each debuff on the target. If we have 5 debuffs applied, we ignore 50%, no, we don't ignore, we increase the damage, that's even better, we increase the damage by 50%. Also, we're applying 2 debuffs already, plus whatever we can spread, so at least, if we have enough accuracy to land the debuffs, at least we're going to be adding a 20% damage on this attack. So it's not only an attack, AoE attack, it's not only double debuffs and they're both pretty good debuffs, it's also an ally attack that can be with the highest hitting damage that we have in our setup. So also a very complete and a pretty powerful skill. Like I said, also for Hydra is a really good one. With books we increase that to 100% and the cooldowns to 3 turns. So it's a pretty good skill. We jump on the A3, increases the duration of all buffs on all allies by 1 turn, and decreases the duration of all debuffs by allies by 1 turn. It's kind of a smaller version to what Mikage can do. Mikage does that not only on allies but also on the enemies, so Mikage is obviously way stronger in this form. Attacks all enemies, decrease the duration of all enemy buffs. No, this one no. This one, increase the duration of enemy buffs. Well, no, it's a mix of both, okay? Basically, we increase the duration of the buffs in the allies, and we decrease the duration of the debuffs on allies. So it's a similar one. Mikage also has a ally attack skill. Obviously, Mikage is a mythical champion, it's much better, but it's a very powerful one. It's also a bit mixed with, for example, what Incensa can do. Also has a very similar, which is this one? Is on the basic, the same. The attack with the ally with the highest critical damage joins the attack, blah blah blah, but also Mad Hatter in this case increases the damage of the champion doing the free ally attack. So in that sense, really good skill, also pretty complete. I think it has a lot of value in Hydra. We'll see. The A3, we've already spoke about the first part, but not only that, not only decreases the duration of the debuffs, increases the duration of the buffs, but also fills the turn meters of all allies 20%. So we have turn meter increase, decreased duration and increased duration, 2 AoE debuffs, 1 ally attack, debuff spread, buff steal, and that's not all, because then we also have a passive that is also pretty powerful, that says that every 10 turns taken by allies heals all allies by 20% of their max HP. He has also heals built in the kit. 20% of their max HP of each individual champion, but is free heals, and it's every 10 turns taken by allies. The faster our team is, the more turns it's gonna take, and the faster it's gonna heal. And it not just heals one champion, it heals all allies every 10 turns. So like I said, every 10 turns we have free heal, that is also very good. Every 6 turns taken by enemies places a true fear debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. Which is not bad, but the true fear, for example, in this case, in Hydra is a bit useless, but it's pretty good with waves. And it works a bit differently, because in this case, the 10 turns taken by allies, it heals us, but to be able to apply the true fear, the enemies need to have taken 6 turns. So I'm not seeing this in arena, I'm not seeing this maybe in waves, because we want to clear the waves as fast as possible, but it's free, it's passive, and it doesn't hurt. in any sort of wave. If we can apply True Fear to all enemies for free because he's doing this passively, I think it's a great value skill. And finally, we have increased all ally accuracy in battles by 60. So it's a very, very complete kit. It reminds me a lot to another champion that we have in game that is also really, really powerful. And it also makes me think of another champion that's gonna combine really good with him. The champion that I'm thinking that is really similar and also combines really good with him is our old friend here, Nikmo. Okay, Nikmo is one of the best support champions for Chimera, for the new clan boss that they've included, and is very similar in the sense that he's able to apply a lot of useful debuffs to all the enemies, also increase allies turn meter, and has heals in a sense because he applies leech, so our champions are going to be healing every time, and he applies decrease attack AoE, decrease speed AoE, and leech also AoE, and then increases turn meter, increases speed, he grants an extra buff, so has and brings shitloads of utility to our team. Everything he does is useful for waves, everything he does is useful for Hydra, all difficulties, so a very complete and a very cool champion, and they apply different things, and all the things are very useful for Hydra. So definitely, if you have him, it's a very good couple, it's a very good pairing. And the same goes for another champion that I was thinking that I think is gonna pair amazingly well, and is old Hugo, which is here, okay? Hugo. The same, very similar. Also apply one leech, and in this case it's only to one enemy, but with the Mad Hatter we can spread this stuff. We have decreased defense, that is also very useful. Block buff, that's also very useful, both AoE. We have heals, removes heal reduction, so the same. The combination of these two in Hydra is gonna make wonders to a lot of people that are struggling, because these champions bring a lot of utility, a lot of important debuffs, and they do it pretty consistently. So there's not too much to say about it, other than I think looks like a great fusion. Obviously, it's a great fusion, so it's not going to be the easiest. Normally, these hybrid type of fusions where you need to get shards, not shards, like this fragment, these pieces of shards, fragments, and then you need to use them to get another champion and level at that champion and use 4 copies of that champion to get the legendary. It's not going to be easy, but I think if you can, I think it's a pretty good fusion, to be honest. So, like I mentioned in the beginning, depends what video do you want to see first. Do you want to see this guy in action? Do you want to see Alice in action? Let me know in the comments, I'll try to upload that video first. That's all from my side. Have a look at the video from Alice that I'm gonna leave over there. Any questions or anything you might want to ask down there in the comments, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.